The Denver Broncos could be looking to add another playmaker to their wide receiver room. The Broncos are going to be down Josh Reynolds for at least another 3 weeks as he recovers from a fractured finger. I'm very intrigued about Devon Vele, who has led the Broncos in receiving yards in both games that he's played, and I'm also intrigued about A.T. Perry, who the Broncos signed from the New Orleans Saints. I think Perry has a good chance to make his Broncos debut against his old team on Thursday Night Football. But I think the team might want to add another veteran depth piece to the wide receiver room. Another guy who can be a playmaker for Bo Nix and kind of be a veteran security blanket for him. And there is somebody out there who kind of fits that bill who just became available via trade. I want to bring in this tweet from Jordan Schultz of Fox Sports. Now, just in case you guys have been living under a rock, the New York Jets made the move that everybody expected them to. They traded for Davante Adams from the Raiders. They gave up a conditional third-round pick that can become a second-round pick. But I know Broncos country is very happy about that for two reasons. First of all, Davante Adams is now out of the AFC West. And second of all, the Raiders have now gotten worse as a football team. But the New York Jets now have a little bit of a crowded receiver room, and according to Jordan Schultz, Mike Williams, the veteran wide receiver, who the Jets signed to a one-year deal this past offseason, could be available via trade. The Jets have too many bodies in that room, so Williams is the guy who's going to become expendable here. They're not going to get rid of Alan Lazard, Aaron Rodgers' other buddy. I think if they were smart, they'd keep Mike Williams and get rid of Alan Lazard, but regardless, this could be to the Denver Broncos' benefit. Joe Lombardi, the Broncos' offensive coordinator, was Mike Williams' offensive coordinator when he was with the Chargers from 2021 to 2022. And if we bring in Mike Williams' stats from that time, 2021 was actually the best season of his career. He had 76 catches for 1,146 yards and 9 touchdowns. He was able to stay healthy throughout that entire season. Unfortunately, that has not been a common theme for Mike Williams throughout his career. Injuries have been a big-time problem for him. Most recently, with the Chargers in 2023, in Week 3, he tore his ACL. So that could be something that would detract the Broncos away from Mike Williams, is not wanting to take on another injury liability at the wide receiver position when you already have a guy in Josh Reynolds who's banged up. But I could also see a scenario where Joe Lombardi could go in and he would lobby for Mike Williams to George Paton and Sean Payton. And I think Sean Payton would be intrigued just because this almost seems like a classic Sean Payton move, doesn't it? I also want to bring up the financial aspect of it because Williams is under a one-year, $10 million deal, but according to this tweet from Hayden Winks, Mike Williams' contract sets up in a way that is very cap-friendly for the acquiring team. The Jets will be paying most of that contract, so teams like the Chiefs or the Saints, who don't have a whole bunch of cap space, could be interested as well in Mike Williams. But I think the Broncos could make sense, and I think Mike Williams could be interested in the Broncos because of that connection with Joe Lombardi. Now, the next question becomes, what would the potential draft capital be in terms of compensation for Mike Williams? I think the Broncos could realistically get away with sending a conditional 6th-round pick that could become a 5th-round pick, depending on playing time, depending on certain stat incentives, maybe how many receptions he has, how many touchdowns he has, so on and so forth. I think that could be very realistic. And again, it sounds like it would be very contract-friendly for the Broncos. They wouldn't have to take on much of a financial commitment, and it would only be a one-year commitment. I even think the Broncos could get away with sending a future draft pick, like a 2026 draft pick, like a 6th-round pick from 2026, to get Mike Williams, because I think the Jets right now just want to get Mike Williams off of the books. I do think there are other suitors that could be interested. The Chiefs could be one because they could be looking to add more bodies to their wide receiver room after losing Rashee Rice for the season. Saints could be another one because they've got a bunch of injuries in the wide receiver, and we'll talk about that later on throughout the week as we preview the game versus the New Orleans Saints. But I think the Broncos could definitely make sense, and I think they should at least give a call to Joe Douglas and the New York Jets. They've done business together before with the Zach Wilson trade and the John Franklin Myers trade, so there's already that relationship established between the Broncos front office and the Jets front office. So I could see this happening. I really could. I'm curious, Broncos country, do you think Mike Williams would be a good move for this Broncos offense? And do you think that the Broncos would be making a sound decision giving up draft capital to get him? Drop those comments down below, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts, as always. Be sure to leave a like on this video, as well as subscribe and ring the bell so these videos appear in your notification feed. I would really appreciate it, guys. Those are both free and easy ways to show your support. It helps tell YouTube's algorithm to push us out, and it helps us get seen by more and more members of Broncos country just like you and me. And until next time, guys, I am your host, Gage Madrid, saying peace out.